With PMBOK 7, PMI introduced the 12 project management principles and 8 performance domains. You don't need to memorize these. I know a lot of you like to memorize. You don't need to memorize these, but instead you need to be informed about them. All right. So what I'm going to do right now is just read through the 12 principles and I'll put them up on the screen. Number 1, be a diligent, respectful, and caring steward. Number 2, recognize, evaluate, and respond to system interactions. Number 3, navigate complexity. Number 4, create a collaborative project team environment. Number 5, demonstrate leadership behaviors. Number 6, optimize risk responses. Number 7, effectively engage with stakeholders. Number 8, tailor based on context. Number 9, embrace adaptability and resiliency. Number 10, focus on value. Number 11, build quality into processes and deliverables. Number 12, and which is the last one, enable change to achieve the envisioned future state. So those are the 12 principles, and like I said, you don't need to memorize these, you just need to be informed about them. And if you think about them, they're pretty basic, and I would normally have expected that project managers would keep those in mind as they manage projects. Now let's talk about the 8 performance domains that PMI introduced in PMBOK 7. They're not supposed to be in any specific order, and it doesn't matter if one of them is listed higher on the chart or something, but none of them is going to be more important than the others, and so you just got to cover all the 8 performance domains. What is a performance domain? A project performance domain is a group of related activities that are critical for the effective delivery of project outcomes. So basically, you as a PM must be informed about certain skill sets and things that you need to do, activities, so that you can succeed in managing that aspect of the project. It's a performance domain, which means it's an area of performance that you need to excel at. So let's take a look at what these performance domains are. Again, no specific sequence. It doesn't matter if I read this first or last. All right, so here it goes. Stakeholders, team, development approach and life cycle, planning, project work, delivery, measurement, uncertainty. And these are the 8. Right? Now we already do these things. So if you think about domains like delivery, planning, project work, teams, stakeholders, and so on, and uncertainty, which is risk, and measurement, which is estimation, and so on, we already do these things. So what PMI has done is it created the 12 principles, which is how PMI expects us to manage projects, by following those principles, and those principles intertwine with the performance domains, the 8 performance domains, right? So you will follow these same principles as you do project work. You will follow them as you work with stakeholders, as you work with teams. So all the principles, the 12 principles, are always there in the back of your mind as you try to succeed in these 8 performance domains. And on the other side of the aisle, which is the agile or adaptive approach, we also have the 4 values from the Agile Manifesto and the 12 principles as well. So they also have 12 principles in the Agile Manifesto, and they have 4 values. 4 things or 4 objectives or 4 items that agile teams really care about. When was the Agile Manifesto created? In 2001. That's when it was created. So it hasn't really been that long, and this is why, a lot of you may not have heard Agile, and this is why people who worked in projects prior to the internet boom and so on didn't really hear about Agile. They always thought about traditional projects. So the Agile Manifesto again has 4 values that they care about and 12 principles. Let's take a look at them. And these are things you can probably just Google right now, and you can find them on the internet. So the 4 values that agile teams have are the following. We value individuals and interaction over process and tools. In the traditional project, we use a lot of processes, we use tools and so on. In the Agile, they prefer to interact with other team members. They prefer to interact with the customer. They like to work side by side and get things done. The second thing that they value is working software over comprehensive documentation. We all hate documentation, right? So now you see that the Agile teams prefer not to have that much documentation. In the traditional project, there's a plan after another plan, and they look at so many documents. In Agile, they want to cut through all of that. They want to see software that works. Prove to me that it works, which is why they work in sprints. They work in small iterations, a little bit at a time. They test it out and they see if it's successful, gives them what they want, and they move on to the next sprint. The third value is customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Customer collaboration in Agile means you're interacting with the customer, you're collaborating, you're working as a team, you're looking at things, you're crossing things out, you're adding something else. It is much better than to have a fixed contract early on in the project and then spending all of your time negotiating changes that are required later on. See, if you're working in a traditional project like building a road, you actually don't really need to use Agile, right? It doesn't apply to that. Why? Because early on we can agree on the specifications like how many miles, how wide, how many lanes, what color, whatever, space for signages, dashboards, whatever it is, street lights, whatever you want to do with the road, these are agreed upon early on, and we don't really need to make a lot of changes, and we don't want to make a lot of changes, right? In Agile, it's a little bit different. We don't have the full idea. Most of the time, we don't really know what the outcome is going to be. I mean, we do. We know what we want as an end result. So if we want the, state-of-the-art camera for professionals, okay, fine. We know what that does. We know what that outcome or capability is, but the specifications may not be finalized yet. And so those get done in different sprints, and we test them out and so on. And if you are able to collaborate with your customer, you can narrow down exactly what they want. You can't put a whole bunch of these features and user stories and requirements all in the beginning for something that is innovative. Most Agile is about innovation. And so you can't really figure out most of the innovation early on. You can name a lot of the features that you want, but you need to sort through it and prioritize it as you work on your Agile project. So again, we prefer customer collaboration over contract negotiation. And the fourth value that Agile teams prefer is responding to change over following a plan. In Agile, it's not really possible to follow a plan from, that you would have developed from day one for the whole project. It is possible in traditional because these are things, that's why we call them traditional. We have traditionally done them. It's a predictive approach. Everything can be predicted. We know what will happen. We know what to expect. These are things that have been designed by civil, mechanical, electrical engineers, and so on, industrial engineers. They know the steps that you need to do to build whatever it is that you're building. In Agile, it's different. It's technology, it's innovation. An idea could spark overnight that may require more attention the next day. So we are okay with change. We welcome change. We add it to the backlog. We see if that's more priority than something else, and then we can add that into the mix. All right? So these are the four values that you have in the Agile approach. And now let's look at the principles behind the Agile Manifesto. Again, you can find this by Googling for Agile Manifesto, or you can look for principles in Agile Manifesto on the internet and you will find these. So let me tell you what they are. Number one, our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. Of course, we would always prefer that. We are aiming to satisfy the customer. We want to show them software that works. So I like these principles. They're beautiful. It's just that they only apply to innovation, technology, IT, data-centric and digital type solutions and automation. They don't apply to traditional projects. Although many of the traditional projects, even in road construction and home building, they've started to introduce Agile wherever it's possible. And I'll explain a little bit later on where you can introduce Agile in traditional project, or maybe that would be a separate video. So the second principle in the Agile Manifesto is welcome changing requirements even late in development. Agile processes harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. So as we mentioned previously, change is always acceptable in the Agile approach. The third principle is deliver working software frequently, from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, with a preference to the shorter timescale. As I mentioned previously, sprints or iterations are typically 1 to 4 weeks long, and we demonstrate what we have done to the product owner at the end of that 1 to 4 weeks. So this allows for frequent updates to the customer rather than waiting for the road to be built. We show them as we complete every step, and this way we can receive feedback from the product owner and the customers, which allows us to use that feedback and change the priority of some of the features or user stories that we have, or include additional ones into it. The whole idea is to deliver value to the customer as soon and as frequent as possible. This is what we call incremental value delivery. The fourth principle from the Agile Manifesto is business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. And that was mentioned in the values. They like collaboration with the customer. The fifth principle is build projects around motivated individuals, give them the environment and support they need, and trust them to get the job done. In Agile, it's not just the PM and people that report to the PM. Instead, the leadership in the team might actually shift and rotate, because everybody's got their specialty. Mind you, we are technical people in Agile, and every person has a specialization. So it might rotate, and we work as a team. Everybody is empowered. They can do a lot more, which is why, again, organizations are shifting to Agile. The sixth principle is the most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is face-to-face conversation. Here again, you see, they like face-to-face, talking to the customer directly, talking with the team, collaboration. Very important word, collaboration. The seventh principle is working software is the primary measure of progress. Yeah, don't just show me documents and plans, show me that it works. The proof is in the pudding. We want the pudding. We want to see proof. The eighth principle is Agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. Agile project management works with sprints, and sprints are 1 to 4 weeks long. They can be a bit longer if needed. You can go into a hybrid project management where you extend the sprints, but in general we're working with 1 to 4 weeks, and those are going to be worked on one after the other. We expect in Agile project management to work fast. We're always racing against time. We want to complete stuff, so we want to maintain a constant pace. We measure our velocity, an important word. We measure our velocity. We want to make sure that we can complete the functionality or module or change within the expected time frame. The ninth principle is continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. So this speaks for itself. We're always focusing on the latest and greatest, and that's what Agile thinks about. The 10th principle, and this is one that I really like. Listen to the wording on this. Simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done, is essential. So if think about it, they're looking at maximizing the amount of work we don't do. We want to increase the amount of work that we don't do. It sounds like negative and negative, or it sounds weird when you say it, but basically what they're saying, if it's not required, don't do it. If it's not essential, don't do it. Don't waste your time on it. So the more you can simplify the process and eliminate time wasters, which is a concept of lean in a way, then the better off we are. And there are many organizations that follow lean agile as an approach. The 11th principle is the best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self-organizing teams. As I mentioned, in agile teams, we might split the roles. The leadership may rotate between different individuals who are specialized in different areas. And so we self-organize. We decide, we choose which tasks we're going to work on. If we are an agile team of 5 people, we would decide who is going to do what. We don't split the work. each person says, I will take this, I'll take that, I'm good at this, I'll do these, and the remaining tasks that nobody wants to do, usually the team lead will divide it amongst the team. All right, but it gives you that sense that you are choosing your own destiny. You're deciding which tasks to work on. You don't feel like somebody is, just pounding you with work to do. I like that concept, the agile one. And the 12th and final principle is, at regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. This is the adaptive approach. At the end of every sprint, we sit with the product owner, we review what we have completed, we do a demo of the work that we've done. It could be just a login module, but we test it out. If all looks well and they're happy with it, then, we learn from that experience. If there are things that are not good, or we don't get the right results, we learn from that and we think about how we can be better at what we do. So we're constantly enhancing our abilities in the way we manage the projects.